Hi there, Will here. And the other day, I was hanging around my film lab, as I often do, and my eyes landed on their trash can, which was filled with a wide variety of really bad looking point and shoots and camera cases and odd little things. And I thought to myself, maybe I should have a scratch around in there. Maybe there's something I could make use of. And I came up with this after my brief dive in their rubbish bin. And this is a time-branded point and shoot. I did some research and found out that these are also known as a Luxon Riviera and Ultronic focus-free optical cameras. And from what I can tell, they have a glass lens, which is a very good feature, a hot shoe, which technically makes it better than my RB, and they shoot 35mm film. Its noteworthy features are its nifty sliding lens cover port. This specific version that I have in my hands also has a nifty worm or something inside there, so we'll see how that impacts the pictures. The viewfinder is disgustingly dirty, and if I open the camera up, it actually looks decent inside. There's a bit of dust going on, and the one foam seal that it has looks to be in decent condition, so I have hope. Before we take this thing into the outside world, I am going to give it a bit of a clean, just because I need to be able to show off how nice and pristine my lovely new garbage camera is. And to do that, I'm going to use water, Spaniard Electro Clean, which is a contact cleaner. It means it doesn't leave residue and is safe for the electronic bits. Not that there are any really, besides the hot shoe. And possibly Parrot office cleaning liquid, which is sort of meant to be residue free as well, but I haven't really found that to be the case. And some earbuds, because earbuds are always useful. The thing about this thing is it looks like it was stored in the garbage before it ended up at Cape Film Supply, and then briefly got to be looked at there. And then ended up right back where it belonged, in the garbage. That's really dirty. Something definitely lived in here for a while. Probably the thing that's stuck in the lens, that little worm. And give it a bit of a... I'm obviously not going to be too specific in cleaning it, because the odds are this thing isn't even going to work. But if I'm going to shoot it, I want it to be a decently pleasant experience at least, so... That mechanism seems fine. Shutter fires. And the last thing I'm going to clean is the lens. There's no way I'm getting the worm out of there, so hopefully it doesn't destroy the pictures. I mean, I'm putting a lot of faith in this thing, assuming that it's going to take pictures at all, but you know, the only way to find out is to actually do it, so I guess onwards. So, my sun pack flash doesn't work on it, but that's because the sun pack has a hot shoe issue. But I have found out that this does work on it. So we're going to be shooting for flash with Contax TLA 200. Brief interlude. I stopped by a thrift store out there and picked up some photo books. I'll show you later. Anyway. a good bit of fun. It actually worked slightly better than expected. It did have some downfalls, mainly gravity pulls down this little slide thing enough when you're holding it vertically for it to block the shutter actuation. So there were a lot of moments where I was trying to take a picture, but this thing was pulled down just far enough for the shutter to be locked. So I ended up having to hold that up the whole time in order to be able to push it down, which was interesting. And its little rewind thingy sort of flops around. And the viewfinder is really zoomed in compared to what the actual aspect ratio of this lens is. I kind of figured it would be, so I just composed pictures that would work if they were that zoomed in, but also would work if they were slightly more zoomed out than the viewfinder lets you think, and that was the case. I only took a couple of flash shots in the beginning to test out the flash, and it did work. I think this thing's shutter speed is probably around 100th or 125th of a second, so it syncs quite nicely with the flash, because its aperture is probably like f8 or something. And with regards to the results themselves, the colors are all over the show, because obviously if it's only exposing one exposure the whole time, it's either going to under or overexpose, and that's going to control the way that the casts come out. So there was a lot of red going on and a lot of overexposure, but to be honest, it worked decently well. The only other failing it had was that its frame counter didn't work, so I kind of just shot until I couldn't advance it anymore, and then I rewinded from there. Overall, it was surprisingly functional for a camera I found in the rubbish, so I'm happy with it. And as a last little experiment, I reckon I've put a roll of film through it. I'm never going to use it again. I'm going to disassemble the whole thing and try clean it properly, and if I can put it together, then I'll have a nice and clean one, and if I can't, then no loss. And with regards to the photo books I picked up, it's actually really hard to find photo books in thrift stores around here, I found, but for some reason this one had a really good selection of sort of theoretical photo books and a bunch of Martin Parr stuff, and even this Tony Greaves book with a nice cover and nice photographs inside called Radical Love, which follows the story of a person who enters a nunnery, I guess. Quite cool. The coolest thing of all though, besides these photo book history volumes, which are also a Martin Parr thing, is this Aperture edition called Prison Nation, which I'm pretty sure I saw like at the Photographers Gallery in 2018 in London, but didn't buy. And man, it's got some good photographs in it. Very cool. Very nice to find while I'm out playing with a junk camera. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week.